Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Friday afternoon, April 5th. We're looking at Window Trader's market profile of the ES and NQ. So, for all intents and purposes, for the week, with these gyrations and moves all over the place, we end down less than 1%. We're going to go over all of these charts, these indices charts, today. So, we only took out one weekly low. The big takeaway from today is now we know it wasn't long-term money selling the market yesterday. Long-term money's not going to walk away and let the market just trade inside of yesterday's range, right? We had a good range, right? We said lower volatility begets higher volatility. Well, we had $11 range yesterday. We have a $6 range today. It's our fifth biggest range of the year. So that's good. We have a poor high in ES and SPY. We have an inside day in ES and an NQ. IWM doesn't, right? He doesn't, but I would kind of treat it as one because they didn't take out yesterday's low by much. What did we do today for 6.5 hours? Nothing. We spent 6.5 hours taking back two of the four sets of single prints we had. We leave two. We took back two. NQ had three. They took back two. They took back a big part of the third one. We took back a big part of the third one, but it held. Righty took back L and K, but holds J's, which never got into J's, which is very big, and I's. So we spent the entire day just taking back 2 hours worth of emotional selling yesterday. And then we get the other end today. We get emotional buying. We try to go trend in C, it fills. But then we do go trend in E. Finally gets taken back in I period. So these short-term traders and mindless machines, right? The emotional trading is amazing. We talk about it. There is zero loyalty. They are as fickle can be. They'll turn on a dime. But this should provide a good opportunity, hopefully on Monday, with an inside day. We have a lot coming out next week on Wednesday. There is nothing Monday and Tuesday. So if you open up inside of today's range, yes, we did have an 8-wide POC, but I want 9 wide more or better, 9 wide or better. You're going to have tremendous chop, so you're going to need your hard hats on. If we gap above today's high or low, I'm curious to see if it's a real attempt at a breakout of an inside day or it's going to be a false one. Until Wednesday's big CPI and Fed minutes come out. So it remains to be seen. We'll play that by ear once next week starts. Decent day today. Again, the market did something a little more than I thought. Once we had made the high in C and D and had the poor high and filled the singles, I thought there were very good odds not to take out the day's high or low for a while. Not for the whole day, but I thought we'd stay in there. Well, I was very, very wrong, obviously, as E ripped up and we went even higher. However, look where we ended up playing. We ended up with our POC right at C and D's high and our volume POC not far from there. I'm in bigger increments right now. We ended with unchanged value for the second day in a row, but it changed drastically. Yesterday we had higher value, ended unchanged. Today we had totally lower value, ended unchanged. NQ ended overlapping to lower. As far as my trading goes, in A period, in NQ, when we got the overnight high, first against the base of the price probe. So when we got down to L's low in A, I'm like, well, we opened above it. There weren't sellers there. Let's see. It worked. Very nicely it worked. Bought it right around L's low, and it popped right back up above the opening. Then when they started getting momentum, I'm like, well, good odds we're going to get the overnight high now. We got above the opening. We got above the simple moving average, 144. Took another long. Took out F's high. So 2 winners on longs based on that MGI for both of those reasons. Okay? Then in B period, started one time framing up, so started looking for longs, again on the ebb and flow, which was working. So it was working nicely on the nice little ebb and flow in NQ. Then when it popped the top, I'm like, I don't expect to go trend right away with lower value into yesterday's trend day. I shorted it. That worked out. C period. Got long to pop the IB high. That worked. So we were pretty much on target what we were trying to do for very mechanical reasons. And they worked. In D period, again, I took a short. I'm like, we filled single prints in C. I'm like, well, we didn't go trend in C. I'm not looking to go trend in D. Well, took a short. It worked. But then we did have single. Wait, let me rephrase that. I took a short above C, and I took a long when we filled the single prints. So they both worked out in NQ. E period, I took a short against the day's high. I made money on it before it went higher. I tried the same thing in ES and E period. I didn't think we'd go trend again. I was wrong. Took it off for a 5-point loss. Now, G period, I didn't respect. We're so used to these smaller ranges that now that they've expanded, when G started going back up in NQ, I'm like, I don't mind shorting this because I don't think we're going to hold trend. Well, it popped. This was I took it in late F into G. I took it around 73. I added at 80 something, and then I took it off when it went even higher. But then it came right back in and actually stopped the one-time framing. So I was upset at myself for two reasons. I got involved too fast. We were holding single prints in E. I wasn't expecting to go triple distribution. But that's the reason I shorted 73 against F's high. But that was only a one lot. But I did do a 3 lot at like 83 or 84, and then it went much higher, and I took it off for a loss. I should have given it, like I said, because the range expansions have gotten bigger, some more room, and I didn't. So I took a loss on that, and then it ended up coming in. And then my last two trades of the day were in I and J in both ES and in NQ. I thought we'd get an afternoon pullback that would hold today. Ironically, even though we had unchanged value. Well, actually, we had overlap and lower value at the time. It became unchanged after that. And it did hold. Right? Contrast to yesterday, where all the MGI was in favor of the bulls, and that didn't hold. And the same on this day when I took the long. Remember? Well, I took the long in G, but then again, I took it in L because I didn't think they'd take out G's low, and they went down. And that was with higher value and higher 2 days ago, and it was higher value at the time yesterday. Today, with overlapping a low value, I thought we had better odds of holding the afternoon pullback, and it did. So I nailed those pretty nicely in both I and J, especially in NQ. ES I did okay, and I started a little early, but NQ I did much better. And then that was it. After that, the market just meandered about, and I didn't do anything. So a couple of things before we get to the reference points and the charts. This is one of, I think, for a full 5-day period, an incredibly difficult intraday market to read. Not the easiest by far. Had rough days. I made money on the week. Nothing great. Very happy with what I did because of, I think, how tough it was. Okay, there could have been some days where I got really stubborn and gotten absolutely annihilated, and I didn't. So for traders out there, new or veteran, I wouldn't be too. If you had a good week, great, that's awesome. If you didn't have a great week or you watched a lot, there's no harm in that either, because I'm telling you, for somebody who's done this for over 40 years, this was a very, very tough week to read. As far as destinations go, in SPY, our upside is today's high 520.44, which is poor. And then the single prints, which you should have, that I gave yesterday, they start at 45 cents now. On the downside, we have an afternoon pullback low of 516.97 and today's low of 514.01. In ES, we have a high of 72.50. We have an afternoon pullback of 37, and today's low is 0675. Now let's go to the charts and see what's going on here as this second quarter is underway now. Okay? So let's go to IWM. So IWM right now is one time framing up 6 months, including this month. That's a week old. Even though it's an inside month, you're still one time framing up. Right? I waited till last month to finally call them up. Now they still have a lot of work to do to get to an all-time high. But at least for now, they are up, one time framing up 6 months. That's pretty good. Okay? In fact, let me see. The last time we one time framed, well, I'm not going to go through it now. Weekly is balance. Now, I would probably encompass this as a 5-week balance. I would use 3 weeks ago's low, and I would use last week's high. So, the monthly is up, the weekly's in a 5-week balance. The daily, I'm going to call a 4-day balance. Okay? I'm not going to call it down. They slightly stretched this triple bottom and came back into it pretty well. So I'm going to call it a 4-day balance. They closed below the 20 and above the 50. So 2 time frames are in balance. 1 is in monthly. NQ. NQ took out last month's low? No, that's not right. NQ did not take out last month's low. This week's low is 435.11. I don't know why that says that. Last month's low, no, they did not. So the monthly is still one time framing up. That might have an after hours or a bad print. So the monthly is one time framing up for 6 months in NQ. Still very healthy. Although remember, last month's range was small. So we'll see. Weekly is a 6-week balance. So this is starting to percolate here, right? The longer you're in balance, hopefully the stronger you come out of it. We did have an inside week down. That was pretty much, I guess, successful, but with a lot of fits and starts. But it's a 6-week balance. And the daily, now again, you can call a 4-day balance or encompass all the way up to the all-time high. Again, that's subjective, right? If you want to use a 4-day balance, and if you take out yesterday's high, you're up, and then there's another $5 to this high. I think, for all intents and purposes, since the weekly is encompassing the all-time high, I think I would also make this whole thing a balance. That doesn't mean you're wrong if you call it up if it takes out yesterday's high. But I think for now, until we take out an all-time high, if we stay in this balance, that's what I'm going to use. But it's an inside day. Below the 20, above the 50. And then in the S&P, monthly is chugging along. 6 months, one time framing up, very healthy. So the longest time frame is healthy. This is the first time in 12 weeks, 13 weeks, we took out a previous week low in SPY. It was 9 in a row. It was 12 out of 21. So it's 12 out of 22. Well, all we did was take out one weekly low. So for people that are signing the death warrant for bulls, just look at this. We were down less than 1% this week. It's a 3-week balance. You want to get me interested in trying to sign the death certificate for the bulls? Take out the balance low. And I don't mean to take it out and not even take out this low. I mean start taking out like 4 more weekly lows. Then I'll start saying, okay, maybe the bears have something. Until then, it's balance. And on the daily, again, you can call it a 4-day balance. I'm calling it this whole thing, which is 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm calling this an 11-day balance. The all-time high and yesterday's low. We closed above the 20. But again, 1 or 2 days doesn't make a market. So I don't care whether we close above or below it. What's going to matter is if we come out of balance below it and stay, or come out of balance above it and stay. That's when it's going to really matter. Anyway, I hope you had a good day and a good week trading. Again, a very tough week. Don't forget I'm running that special. Okay? You can email me, paul@camelbacktrading.org, if you have any questions on it. It's running through the end of this month. For what we provide for the price, I think you'd be very, very pleased. So come check us out. Thank you for liking and subscribing to this channel. Enjoy your weekend. And we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow. On Monday.